सेनो मृडयन्तु तेयं द्विष्मो यश्च नोद्वेष्टितं भोजं वेददामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु य औषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुधं पाशावृत्यो मर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्नेनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि वायो विश्वस्य चैतन्यस्य यश्वामहेसौ मनसाय रुद्रं नमो देवमसुरन्दुवस्य अयं मे अस्तु भगवान् अयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्वमे सजोयगं शिवाभिर्नशनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः क्षञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणञ्च मे यन्ता च मे दर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे मित्रञ्च मे अभयञ्च मे सुगञ्च मे शान्ति शान्ति बाबाय नमः ॐ श्री सा योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति नक्षत्राणि वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो नक्षत्राणायतनं वेद आयतनं भवति आपो वै नक्षत्री पर्जन्यो वा अपामायतनं
वेद आयतनं भवति
संवत्सरो वा अपामायतनं यत् संवत्सरस्यायतनं भवति आपो वै.
And asks, play the game, be happy. That when our minds are quiet, that's when Swami is ready to resolve to offer. And with the program, let us play the game, be happy. We have a big program ahead of us. We have esteemed guest speaker, Brother Ajay Yakirala, who is our Region 1 Young Adult Representative. We have a wonderful SSC cultural program by our very own Jersey City Sai Center SSC students. And we have a melodious musical program led by our region's young adults, titled One for All, One for Sai. Let us start now with bhajans. Also, we have a special treat. We have some special guests from our local community that Sister Sai Lakshmi Rao is going to introduce.
Sairam, everyone.
Sairam.
As we gather today on Thanksgiving weekend to celebrate our beloved Swami's birthday, I'm grateful for the value of service in all of us. I'm indeed blessed to have made North Bergen my second home and to work for an administration that believes in serving everyone. Serving the community has been the top priority of our Senator and our Mayor, Nicholas J. Sacco. Mr. Sacco believes in helping each and everyone in the community and enforces that those who are able to serve everybody else. He's joined here today with our freeholder, Mr. Anthony Vineri, and Ms. Bob Basleys, the Director of the Parking Authority. Mayor, thank you for accepting our invitation, and I would like you to come forward and say a few words. Mayor, I welcome you to our Sai Center that believes in the values of all faiths, and we follow the principles of truth, right conduct, peace, love, and nonviolence. So please take the.
All right, thank you. You know, this is an absolutely wonderful event. I look here at all the different religions being joined together, and what you're doing here is only making the world a better place. You know, it's sometimes just the good feelings and the prayers that you do are what enter into the holy atmosphere and to heaven, and it comes back down at earth and becomes a better place for everybody. So what you do, and you know, God bless each.
Anthony.
Well, first of all, I think this is outstanding tonight. Here for parties, senior citizens do bingos here. So, today, as a county executive, I know what all the coaches are doing across the county, and I would be for every event that we do. Okay, and happy birthday, is it? Happy birthday to everyone. And tomorrow, I'll be here tomorrow too.
Okay.
Can I please request Mr. Jagannathan Garu to honor our. Thank you. Sorry to have bothered my family, and thank you.
तत्सवितुस्य धीमहि धिया स्वः वितुर्वरेण्यं प्रचोदयात्
शान्तिः नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि अशेवुः वैशेमस्ति उष्टास्ति उष्टाभा यतशाय वहिष्ठायशे श्मा Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim La ilaha illallah Allah Allah La ilaha illallah Allah Allah La ilaha illallah Allah Allah Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Om Saishwaraya vidmahe Satyadevaya dhimahi
तन्न सर्व प्रचोदयात् ॐ
साईश्वराय विद्महे
सत्यदेवाय धीमहि
तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्
ॐ
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
शिवनंदन पार्वती नंदन
पार्वती नंदन
हे शिवनंदन पार्वती नंदन
पार्वती नंदन
जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन
जय जय गिरिजा बाल
विघ्न विनाशक विजय गजानन
विनाशक विमल गजानन
विघ्न विनाशक विमल गजानन
विघ्न विनाशक विमल गजानन
श्रवण सेविता सुमुख गजानन
शरवण सेविता सुमुख गजानन
श्रवण सेविता सुमुख गजानन
शरवण सेविता सुमुख गजानन
तव पद चरणौ शरणौ गजानन
तव पद शरणौ शरणं गजानन
तव पद चरणौ शरणौ गजानन
तव पद चरणं शरणं गजानन
जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन
जय जय गिरिजा
हे शिव शंकर पार्वती नंदन
शंकर पार्वती नंदन
जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन
जय जय गिरिजा
विघ्न विनाशक विमल गजानन श्रवण सेविता सुमुख गजानन तव पद चरणौ शरणौ गजानन तव पद चरणौ शरणौ गजानन जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन
Oh Holy Father Sai Baba Oh Holy Father Sai Baba Sai Baba Oh Lord Divine hallowed be thy name Make us your children, deserve thy grace. Make us your children, deserve thy grace. Lead us to thy feet, Baba, O Lord. Lead us to thy feet, Baba, O Lord. Oh, Holy Father, Sai Baba. Oh, sweet Sai, gentle and so loving. Oh, sweet Sai, gentle and so loving. Oh, sweet Sai, so understanding. Oh, sweet Sai, so understanding. Lead us gently, lead us gently, lead us to thy wonderland of love. Lead us gently, lead us gently, lead us to thy wonderland of love. Oh, Holy Father, Sai Baba. Oh, Lord divine, hallowed be thy name. Make us your children, deserve thy grace. Lead us to thy feet, Baba, O Lord. Oh, Holy Father, Sai Baba. Oh, sweet Sai, gentle and so loving. Oh, sweet Sai, so understanding. Lead us gently, lead us gently, lead us to thy wonderland of love. Lead us kindly, lead us gently, lead us to thy wonderland of love. Lead us. Madre, Padre, eres mi Dios, Sai Baba. Eres mi madre, Padre, eres mi Dios, Sai Baba. Eres mi madre, Padre, eres mi Dios, Sai Baba.
Eres mi madre y padre, eres mi Dios, Sai Baba.
Eres mi
Divina Madre, Cristo al amo
स्वरूप साई सर्वधर्म स्वरूप साई धर्म स्वरूप भक्ति के अवतारा धरती के अवतारा मेरे बाबा मेरे साई मेरे बाबा मेरे साई साई राम 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 हिंदू मुस्लिम ईसाई आते हैं तेरे द्वारे हिंदू मुस्लिम ईसाई आते हैं तेरे द्वारे मिलते हैं तेरे द्वारे मिलते हैं तेरे द्वारे मिलते हैं तेरे द्वारे साई राम 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 सर्वधर्म स्वरूप साई धरती के अवतारा मेरे बाबा मेरे साई साई राम साई राम साई राम साई राम हिंदू मुस्लिम ईसाई आते हैं तेरे द्वारे
हिंदू मुस्लिम ईसाई
मिलते हैं तेरे द्वारे साई राम 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 सर्वधर्म स्वरूप साई शांति शांति शांति
Sai Ram, everybody. Sai Ram. Sai Ram. I'm so happy. I was little bit worried about when the mayor comes. I don't want to contradict that politicians involved with Baba. Because the timing is very important. We don't want to stop any of these Baba's program because of them. But the motive is to show them that we don't belong to only one religion. We respect all the religions. So thanks whoever organized Rushia and everybody. It's all came, multi-faith player came at the correct time, at the correct spot. We must thank Baba for that. If I start talk, we can keep on talking like this. So many things happening. I think one of the other things today is happening is our guest speaker. Such a wonderful person, such a young person, right? Might be young in age, but by devotion and things, I won't say he's young. We are so lucky to have him here, and his whole family belong to Baba. Even his father, he came last year to our center on the Baba's Avatar Declaration Day. His dad came and gave a nice, wonderful speech, and he explained all his experience with Baba. Now the son is here. How wonderful we are. They are the example for us. That's how our family should be. It should be passed on to generation to generation. Nothing else, only the devotion. So we have today, Ajay Yakirala is here. He is one of the Baba students, and he did his BA BCom. He did his bioscience. He did his bioscience in Baba's school. Then from there, he moved to America and he did his PhD in the University of Minnesota, right? University of Minnesota. He did. And now, after that, he did his PhD in Harvard University. He completed, and he's a co-founder of and CSO of the Blue Therapeutic, a startup focused on developing non-addictive painkillers. He's one of the co-founder of that scheme. So, this is where the children have to listen to them. Parallelly, the education should go parallelly with their characters and with their devotion. They are the good examples for our children. Our children should follow them. Only the education, we can't achieve everything. You can achieve only money. But with the characters and with the Baba's devotions, you get purity in your mind. That's what we need. Money is not going to help when you become old and when you sleep on the bed. What's going to happen after 70 years? Money is not going to help you. That, okay, somebody will come and take care when you have the money, but where you stand? We need some sort of consolation to our mind, saying that I'm like this, I was like this, I did as much as possible, I did so much a help to the others. Okay, now Baba give me an opportunity, now I can't do it. So that job, pass it on to somebody else. You take your rest. If you don't do anything, what do you get consolation on you? What do you have in your mind to talk? Nothing. What you have done in this world? Nothing. Right? So at the correct time, we have to do the correct things. And the children should get the correct message. This is very important. That's what all we are working on our children's program and all. They should get the correct. See, when they get the message on the small age, that is more worth than rather than they are getting the message after 40 years. It's no use. So that's another thing I like Baba's organization. Correct time, we put the correct seed at the correct place. Then that seed will give the correct results at the later age, right? So they are the good examples of this. Not only him, there are so many people sitting, the young people here, right? They are the example for us. Even our adults, now we are grown-up people, we have to learn from them. I don't know whether I came from that age, from the Baba's young adults group, and we were not there. We are missing all those things, right? So, but you people are wonderful, you are doing a wonderful job, right? So now, I think he was in the band player, he's a musician player, oh, so many things, right? He's a wonderful guitarist, everything, and another very important news, he is going to participate in our young adults program. That's another good information. So his father also same. His father was the visiting professor to the Babas in the school in Puttaparthi. He was the visiting professor. Now everybody, whole family settled in America, right? So I don't want to prolong anymore, right? I invite Ajay Akrala to come and give some few words and few experience that he had with Baba. Sai Ram.
Saram, everyone. The way Uncle kind of introduced me, he can make anyone look like a superstar, so let's not get carried away. No, I have to say in all honesty, it is such a pleasure and honor and privilege to be with every one of you today. It is even more momentous that it is Swami's birthday that we are celebrating with all of you, the extended Sai family. To add to that was the fact that we were technically not even supposed to be here. We were technically not even supposed to be on this continent. The whole plan was actually that we'd be in Puttaparthi for Swami's birthday. So that was the big master plan. We can hatch our plans, but Swami has his own. It so happened that those plans fell through. And, there was this, thought current that, that little bit of disappointment, we're not able to see Swami during his birthday and be in Puttaparthi. And suddenly I had a call. I didn't have the number, on my phone. I pick up, and then Sister Aparna called, and she said, Brother Ajay, we would love it if you can come for Swami's birthday. It was really funny. I was driving, and I was like thinking, this is so bad I'm not able to be in Parthi for, with Swami. And there was this call, and I thought, okay, Swami wants me to come here and learn something. So I'm so excited to be here, not really to speak, because, that Swami will take care of, but more importantly, because I know I'm going to learn something. Swami puts us in places where he thinks we have something to learn. So that's the first part. The second part was, even with that thought, there was still, that disappointment had fully not gone away, that we were not able to go to Parthi. And on the 23rd, we had, bhajans in Boston as well, in multiple families' homes. And so we have a dog. His name is Dash. And we had a bhajan, Thursday evening at Kuga Uncle's place. Some of you may know Kuga Uncle. And Auntie said, Joshua Auntie said, bring Dash as well. It's Swami's birthday. He'll also enjoy bhajans. And Dash actually does love bhajans. Like, he knows Brahmarpanam because he knows that's when he gets food. And he loves bhajans. If I'm watching NFL or NBA, and I'm, screaming at the TV, he gets off, he looks at me, that's not the way to behave, and then walks away. With bhajans, you can go 7 speed, 15 tablas, break the tabla. He's totally fine. So anyway, so he came with us as well, and he's never been to Kuga Uncle's place. This is the first time. And as you know, it's Thanksgiving, so people are parked everywhere. So we parked a few houses away. As soon as he came out of the car, he was already wagging his tail and pulling me. He never usually pulls, but he was pulling me right into the house that we have to go. And he couldn't wait to get into Swami's room, where bhajans were going on. And then it just struck me. It was just Swami in his divine way, laughing at me, saying, where do you think I am? Do you think I'm wedded to one spot? Even Dash knows it. What is wrong with you? But that, so I'm only talking about this because it is such a profound thing. I know Swami is with us today. Look at this beautiful altar. First of all, let's give a big round of applause. Rishi was telling me how actually, there's a little story there. Maybe he can relate it later. But just the majesty of it, it just captures. Swami's right there sitting and watching us. Okay. I am so excited because on Swami's birthday, we get the opportunity to celebrate Swami, celebrate who he was. And what I'm going to try to do today is encapsulate how I perceived Swami the years that I was there and beyond through stories. Some of them fantastic, some of them actually very simple, very mundane. But in each of them, I hope to thread this idea of who Swami is. And I really want to get across that message as to if we understand that, how can we incorporate some of the things that he did into our own lives and make that his life is our message, right? So that part that Swami wants us to incorporate. So let me start with this big, fantastic story. I was a Bal Vikas student. I was about 5 or 6 years old. I can see some of those right there. When there was a story told to us by our SSC teacher, that's a very profound, fantastic story. So this is how the story goes. It was in the 70s, and a lot of devotees were coming from all over the world to Swami. And Dr. Bhagawantam used to be the one who used to translate for Swami during those days. Apparently, he had some work in Bangalore, so he told Swami that morning, Swami, I'm going to be gone today. So please don't take any interviews because there'll be nobody to translate. And he also let some of the other delegations from other countries them know, don't ask an interview today because there might be translational issues and so on. Swami said, oh, Bangaru, very nice, go have a safe trip, take vibhuti, everything. He sent him on his way. Then Swami came for darshan and promptly called every contingent that was not Indian for an interview. Well, the story goes that Swami was talking and every individual was laughing at his jokes, crying with emotionality, and understanding whatever message Swami is giving. But now this contingents, the teams that were there were from Germany, France, America, lots of different groups. And, at every time, like some of these people are looking at each other, wondering how, these people are understanding jokes when Swami is speaking. There were some, boys there as well, students as well. After the interview was done, everybody walks out. And then somebody in one of the, let's say the French team, is asking the German guys, how did you understand? I thought, Swami was speaking French, and I was really surprised. Do you all know French? The German team is like, oh, come on, wait. Swami was speaking German, and we were really confused as to how everybody's understanding. The students were like, wait, Swami was speaking Telugu, and we were understanding how are all of you laughing at all his Telugu jokes. So anyway, for this 6-year-old mind of mine, that was just, wow, this is really cool. That 6-year-old then became like a 10, 11, 12-year-old, and then you question everything. I was like, that story is kind of cool, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. Did it really happen? That was I will believe it when I see it. That was my thought process. I was not a student then yet. Then, years passed. I joined Swami school. And talking about birthdays, one of the things that, we used to have an opportunity to do as students was for our birthdays, we would go take a box with, a few dry fruits and candy and so on. So Swami can bless it, vibhuti. And then he would sometimes distribute them to others. And you would consider yourself extremely lucky if Swami actually took one of those and ate them. So that would be like, oh, my birthday is blessed. So anyway, my birthday falls in May, which in the Indian school system falls during holidays. That means no birthday contingent going for taking blessings. So for that, there's a little cheat, which is you can pick a day that's convenient for you, and you take permission from warden sir, and you get a slip, and then you can then go as a birthday boy, quote unquote. So there was one of these days, Swami was going to, Shivratri was coming up, and Swami would leave to Brindavan soon, so I was like, all right, this is the week. So I got a box, and there were a few others whose real birthday it was as well. So a few of us went and sat there in front right where Swami's interview door opens. We'll be right there. And so Bhagawan came, and you could see that, beside us in the, the VIP block, as it was called, there was this, very, what should I say, important gentleman, just because he had a contingent with him. There were some security people and all that too. It also became apparent in a little bit of time that he probably doesn't understand English. There was this one other person who was translating for him. And just by the language they were speaking, it also became apparent that, they were from Russia. He was some sort of a minister or something like that. Anyway, so they were seated there. Swami came and then looked at them and he said, okay, give me 20 minutes and then I'll come and call you for an interview. So that's what he tells the guy who's translating for this gentleman. And he goes inside. And, as this comedy, divine comedy is really beautiful, this translator gets the nature's call. So he needs to use the restroom. So he asks, some of us seated there is like, where's the closest restroom? I need to really go quickly. And we were like, I don't know if you want to go now, because Swami can come out at any time. He was like, no. Swami said 20 minutes. There's still 18 minutes. Well, all of us know 20 minutes in Swami's time can be in which plane, which, spatial, whatever, right? Dimension. We have no idea. So anyway, so we said, well, there's Vesh Prashanti. You can go here and, try your luck. As soon as the guy goes outside, through the side doors, Swami immediately opens the door. He's actually looking. He looks outside there. Translator's not there. Then he comes out, blesses the birthday boys, looks at me. He's like, hey, why are you here? It's not even your birthday. So I said, sorry, Swami, but, birthday in May. He's like, whatever, here. And he signed a photograph and all of that stuff, blessed us. Then he looks at this guy and he says, come for the interview. And this gentleman was confused. He probably didn't fully understand, but he got it. But I think he was saying like translator, So he was speaking in Russian. And, Swami looks at him and just shrugs and starts talking to him in Russian. And we just know he's talking in Russian because I have no idea what he was saying. But that guy understood, so he knew what was going on. So he, is like incredulous, whatever. So they go in for an interview. They finish the interview. This guy comes, by the way, while they're inside. This gentleman comes in and he's like, where is this? What happened? He's like, well, Swami called him in for an interview. He's like, what? No, but they can't understand each other. We were like, well, Swami was speaking to him in Russian. So he thought we were just completely kooky, come on. And he said, can I go in? And they were saying, no, the doors are closed. You can't enter once the doors are closed. Anyway, so 20, 30 minutes pass, and then Swami opens the door again, and this gentleman comes out. You can see he's like, in tears. He's had a, I'm sure a profound experience. Swami has probably told him, whatever. And this guy is like watching all this with growing sense of confusion and incredulity that he just can't process what is happening. And then Swami speaking to him and he's saying niet, and whatever. They're just talking. And he just brings him out there. He sits and this guy is just looking at him. It's like, you're back. Again, back in English. You're back. He's like, yeah. Take Pandamaskar. So anyway, this guy takes Pandamaskar. I'm sure he became an instant devotee. I wouldn't be surprised. And then, Swami went back inside. These people left. And during this time, I was like remembering this little story, and I was like, okay. It is quite possible. The story doesn't end there because after about half an hour, Swami came out again. And he knows, people who have sat there, they've had this like real profound experience, which is really fantastic. And, even God has a little bit of the ego, so he has to gloat. You have to give him some space for it. Swami came out, he looked at everybody, he's like, Papam, he doesn't know English, so I just spoke in Russian. Just so beautiful, right? Like when you kind of just comprehend who it is that we are dealing with, who it is that we are talking about, it's just mind-blowing, mind-boggling, incredulous, incomprehensible. Yet, the beauty of Swami is that he has touched each and every one of us in our own personal ways, and he continues to do so. Like, nothing has changed, nothing has stopped. And just to contrast this, let me tell you a few of the other type of stories. Now, talking about birthday, 75th birthday. Now, that was a big, big occasion. This was the year 2000. It also started off the new millennium. So it was a, great opportunity. And I had just joined the band, so I was a newly minted rookie band boy. And Swami decided, because it's 75th birthday, that the band boys needed new band uniforms. It's like, it's 75th birthday, everything has to change. So a few of us were, designing, how the uniform should look, and then taking them to Swami, and Swami was like, no, this is not good, new designs. So this was going on for a little while. And, if you think about it, 75th birthday, there were everybody, kings, queens, the Prime Minister of India, the President of India, whoever and whatever are all coming. But Swami is so focused on how the exact tassel of the band uniform should look. No. If it goes this way, it doesn't look nice. This way, it looks royal and regal. So he's walking us through all that. It needs more red. That was the one thing. He loved the red in the uniform. It's like, no, it doesn't have enough red. More red. Anyway, so all of this was going on. And on the day itself, so the day of convocation actually, was the first time we were now wearing and presenting ourselves with it. And that day actually, already everybody had come. And they were all waiting in front of Purnachandra. Swami asked us all to actually come into the Purnachandra hall. So when he came down, because during those days there was no Yajur Mandir, Swami was living in Purnachandra. So he actually came down into the Purnachandra hall, where we were all assembled. He looked at all of us like, yeah, good, the material is good. And all these people are waiting there, right? And he's just so focused on us as individuals, made us play a couple of pieces, and he's like, okay, you're all ready? Feeling good? Okay, come, let's set it up. And then we formed, the formation, and then brought Swami in procession. The reason I bring this up is, usually as an individual now, where sometimes I deal with quote-unquote important people, the focus so much becomes about important people. Oh yeah, they're all coming, we have to make sure everything is okay. It's the Prime Minister of the country, it's the President of the country. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, they deserve, some of that respect, obviously, because of the office. But even in that context, Swami's attention could be so microcosmic and so individual and so clear. That to me was just amazing. Let me relate a couple other such stories of that immense presence that Swami had in a given situation. The story here, the protagonist, is a watermelon. So this was back when I was in 11th grade. There's a typical, game that happens after Swami goes to Vrindavan, which is that exams finish March 31st. April 1st, most of the boys go to Vrindavan to take Swami's blessings before they go on to their homes, wherever they are. And some don't want to go, some want permission that only then they'll book the tickets. There's different strata within this. So, many of us had gone there. And what Swami does is he used to give vibhuti to everybody, call everyone, give vibhuti padnamaskar, which essentially is your ticket out. See you next year, right? Next academic year. So that's what used to happen. So boys who are ready to leave, they'd sit in front. And there are some guys who are like, no, I want to stick around longer. Because Swami would give Trai sessions, where Swami used to say in Vrindavan, that building was called Trai. Many of you might have seen this picture of Swami on a jhula with a mandolin in the hand. So that is actually the room where, he would give Trai sessions. And there would be, max about 50 boys, that's about it. So it was very intimate, and sometimes once he sent everybody away, maybe a week or 15 days in, there'll be maybe 10. So you're getting you're sitting here and Swami's joking and you're talking about all kinds of things, right? So who wants to miss that? Anyway, so some are trying to do that, but you can't hide from Swami, right? So he would still promptly go call the guy and say, okay, go. So that used to happen quite a bit. My parents at that time were in New Zealand, but we're visiting, and they were in Bangalore. So Bangalore used to be our base in India. And so I was sitting there. Swami called me, gave me Padnamaskar, said, go home. I said, sure, Swami. So I went home that evening, but I was back again the next morning. Because I'm in Bangalore, I'm staying with my parents, and I went home, as he said, right? So next morning, Swami came, and then, about half the guys were gone because he'd already taken care of that half. So he was taking care of the remaining people, and then he sees me. So he calls me, gives me, and he's giving me that look while he's giving me the stuff. He gives me Vibhuti, takes Padnamaskar, go home. This time he says a little more curtly. I said, sure, Swami. So I went home. I was back again the next day. So this day, like as soon as he walks in, so he's in his trance, and then he looks at me, and then, he's, this guy, come here. So he calls me over, calls Warden, Sir, Narsimurti, Sir, a bunch of people, and he says, look at this boy. I've told him twice already, he's not following Swami's instructions. As though he doesn't know, right? That's the divine play. But anyway, so me, at that time, was trying to correct Swami and disabuse him of the notion that I had not gone home. So I'm like, if I can interject, because when Swami's like talking, you can't really. So I was quiet, but I was saying, but Swami, I'm a Bangalore boy. I just kind of blurted it out. And that essentially stuck. So Swami used to have these like little epithets for people, like, okay, you're Darjeeling boy, you're Bangalore boy, you're a Lion boy, or, like various things. So then for that particular summer, I was the Bangalore boy. The reason this is important is after about another 3-4 days, there were literally about maybe 10 to 12 people left. That's about it. And I was going home and coming every day. And what he did was there used to be this, VIP bungalow behind that bank, that I think that was demolished in 2000 or 2001 or something like that. So this is 99 I'm talking about. He gave accommodations to the few, boys that were left there because he didn't want them to stay in the Vrindavan hostel because they're not from Vrindavan, So anyway, so we used to call it the ghost bungalow because it used to be, really scary in the night. And then Swami also would tell some scary stories and all that just to add to the fun. But anyway, so and I asked Swami if I could also stay there because then I don't have to go and come every day. It was still a drive. Those days there was no ring road or anything, so it used to be all those little village roads. It took forever. Anyway, so I got that permission, so I was staying there. And Swami told all of us that when you come for lunch or dinner, any of these things, walk through the Trai gates. Don't walk outside because, people don't know how to drive. They'll run you over. So just walk through the inside gates. Okay, so we were doing that. Had lunch, and they gave me a watermelon. I don't know, they got a fresh crop. They were 10, we were 10. They were like, here's your watermelons. So I took it, and then, I love watermelons. I was just so happy. I was a very happy camper that day. So I was looking at the watermelon, I was, holding it in my hand and singing a tune and just like walking through, thinking I'm gonna, share it with everybody else in the room and, whatever. As I'm walking, suddenly I hear, hey boy. So I look up, and then so Swami was standing at the, top of the steps of Trai, just looking at me, he's like calling me. And it was a very, interesting and confusing moment at the same time. And let me kind of break it down. I had a watermelon in my hand. I didn't know what I should do with it. Second thing, there was Swami standing there, and he's calling me, so I have to go, which is pretty awesome. But I was having slippers on, and where am I going to, leave those slippers? I can't just haphazardly just drop them there and go. But I can also go with slippers to Swami, because that also is not cool. Conundrum, right? So all of this was going on in a few milliseconds, but then the intellect, kind of won over at some point, which said, just go. Swami called you, go. Like, it doesn't matter what's in your hands, what you're wearing. So anyway, I kind of go there. And predictably, Swami made fun of me. He's like, Chi, what is this? Coming to Swami with slippers. Completely unacceptable, I could have done anything, and he would have, Anyway, so this was going on, and he was like talking to me, and he was also shaking his head while talking to me. Every time he shook his head with disapproval, if I could get $1, I'd be a multimillionaire by now, right? So anyway, so I was kind of used to that. Anyways, so a few other boys who are also finishing lunch, they're all coming, and they're also running to Swami. Obviously, they see Swami there, so everybody's around, and Swami's talking to everybody. And this is the important part, the most important part. Swami looks at me and he says, "Oh, watermelon. Very good. Are you going to eat it?" I said, "Yes, Swami, I'm going to eat it." "Are you going to eat the whole thing yourself?" I was like, "No, Swami, I'm going to share it, with the other, roommates." Then he looks at me and says, "Oh, good, good, good. How are you going to cut it?" Simple question. He says, "How are you going to cut it?" And then it dawned on me. I had not even thought about it. I have this full watermelon. I don't know. I mean, there's no knife sitting around. I mean, you don't want that in a ghost bungalow anyways. But besides that, that thought had not even crossed my mind. Whereas Swami, the ever practical person, even in that situation, is just breaking it down and saying, "How are you going to eat it? Are you going to?" And then, the joke has to continue. It's like, "Are you going to hit it on your head to break it?" Right? So anyway, then he took us all, behind, and then had somebody there who could cut the thing in his kitchen, and so it was very beautiful. But the point that I'm trying to get at is, in any situation, Swami just kind of looks at the crux of the problem so quickly, and to me that is just fascinating. Let me give another example. There was this thread ceremony that was happening in Parthi, where they had, 1,000 or 1,500 people getting it done. And Swami was distributing trinkets, and the souvenir was a pen with ink in it. I don't know if many of the kids these days even know what that is, but you actually literally pour ink into it and you write it. It looks very stencilized and all that. Kind of cool, but the thing was, before it could go out for distribution, Swami opened one pen from each of the baskets to check and make sure that ink was in it. If it was someone like me, I would be like, "Hey, did you put ink in it? You made sure, right? Okay, come on, go distribute it." But he's like, just goes there, opens it, checks it, okay, good, opens it, checks it. He's the ultimate quality control official that there can ever be. Another little example. We were seeing some beautiful videos of Narayan Seva, right? But you see, first, Swami always starts. And he shows, and he tells everyone, this is how you should do it. This is how much to give. Just what a leader. Show by example, getting into the thick of things. Another example, all of us usually would have seen, videos of, boys say, chanting Vedam or giving talks or any of those things. After that, there would be the desk in front of Swami Simhasan, right? And people come, take Pad Namaskar and go. One of the little things that happens that only, those who have had it know is that the desk has the top. So, and Swami's chair is usually put inside. So when you're taking Pad Namaskar and you get up, you can actually hit your head on top of the desk. Now, most people, including me, probably would tell people, hey, be careful, you'll hit your head. What Swami does, which is just so profound, he keeps his hand under the table so that if by chance you're going to hit your head, it is his hand that gets crushed. That is Swami. The reason I'm talking about these things is that we talk about Swami, which is the fantastic, the one who started super specialty hospitals, the one who, transformed people, all of those kind of things. But even in these little ways, small ways that Swami does that we don't even recognize sometimes, that he would kind of hold the brunt of it. Okay. Just to kind of round out this particular aspect, I have one other story which is very close to my heart. So this happened at the very first sports meet, which usually happens in January, that I attended as a student. This was in 1999, January. And Swami was coming, everybody was assembled in the Shanti Vedika, the stadium, Hillview Stadium. And Swami was coming in a chariot, and no one knows exactly what happened, but there was a sudden jerk on the chariot. Usually, we've seen so many videos, it's usually very pristine and clean, and that one time there was a jerk. And because of that, Swami, who was actually standing and waving to the crowd, actually fell. Like literally, he just plopped. But, he immediately got himself back up, and, the program continued. And as is wont, after the program is done, first the primary school boys and will do it, then the primary school girls, and Anantapur girls, Brindavan boys, higher secondary school boys, and everybody has their program. They have their own formation at the end of their program. And Swami from the dais walked down, stands with everybody, takes pictures, all of that stuff. So this was happening. The whole event was about 6 hours long. Okay, there's nothing that Swami's not seen, okay? The same dance formations, the same songs, everything. But he claps, he gets excited, all of that. So everything was happening. We took umpteen number of pictures. Later on, we found out that Swami was actually very badly injured in the whole back. He actually, in the discourse that he gave 2 days afterwards, he actually spoke about the entire incident. But we found out about it, and it was such a crushing moment. Apparently, he was bleeding the whole time, and because he didn't want anyone to know, he was going into the one bathroom that only he's allowed access to. And he actually used that as an advantage so that nobody else would know. And he was using towels, wet towels, to wipe himself off and coming and then doing it. And we were like, Swami one more, Swami this, Swami that. We're all, in our own selfish sense, we're wanting more and more from Swami, more and more, time with him. And he gave everyone, he didn't deny one thing. He went through that whole process. And that particular experience is another thing that I come back to over and over again when I'm confused about what service should be like or what is selfless service. I'm sorry, if that doesn't, take away that confusion as to what it takes to be able to do it, what would, right? And here Swami is doing that by example. He didn't in that moment say, be the martyr or anything. Like, he just went through that process. It's just that people found out and he knew rumors would fly. That's why he, addressed it himself and, finished the job. And these are all aspects of Bhagawan that, to me, more than the God aspects, the individual aspects that, really touched me a lot, through each of these experiences. The other aspect, I think today was really powerful. I wasn't really expecting what happened initially, but it's such a powerful aspect of the whole thing because Swami always wanted us to do service based on the community. He's told many times, if people need food, give them food, not clothing. Because if they already have clothes, that's of no use, right? So it's a very community-dependent service. And Swami did that throughout his entire career, where he looked at what is needed. For instance, he was such a champion of women's rights. The first college that Swami opened was the Anantapur Women's College, all the way back in 60s. It was only almost a decade or so after that he opened the boys, college. So he already, was planning and way ahead of times, right, in terms of how to do this. We all talk about, we had a beautiful gender equality retreat, Region 1 and Region 2 YAs, a lot of you guys were there. It's, 60, 70 years ago, Swami had already kind of thought about what was necessary. He was kind of delivering that. The part of it that, kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. Yeah, so he would look at that community to really see what is necessary. So this one story is so, powerful in that context. We were all in school when suddenly we got a notice that Swami wants us all to immediately come to Mandir. So, we said, okay, this was very unique. It had never happened like that. So we all went to Mandir. And you could see that Swami was very agitated. I've never, again, I think seen him in that kind of emotionality worn so clearly on his face. Like, usually he's very placid, untouched, right? But he was in that, he was clearly disturbed. What we figured out, over the next 15, 20 minutes is, that Swami had read a news article, and that's exactly how he presented it, that he read a news article on the various suicides that were happening in farming communities because, they were not able to, produce enough, and they were losing their land, and so a lot of farmers were actually committing suicide with the entire family. And Swami looked at this particular story, and He said, how can, and I still, it rankles me even now when I think about it, because Swami's like, while I am here, how can this happen? That was like, those were literally the words that he used. He said, no, we have to change this. We are not connected with the community. We are not doing enough. Let's start Grama Seva. And that's how Grama Seva got started in the year 1999, after a few years of hiatus. Anyway, so groundswell of people, everybody kind of really caught on. I mean, I've never seen, if Swami's like that, it inspires you to, jump in and do whatever he wants us to do. So things were mobilized. I mean, it was amazing that within 3 days, they already plotted the routes for 200-300 villages. People just brought in raw material from wherever, started cooking. People were pouring out clothes, just Swami has to think, and just, sometimes it happens. But it was people doing it, thousands and thousands of people. And we had the good fortune, I call it, to actually go in these trucks to individual villages. I mean, we all talk about poverty and we all think about it, but to be honest, I was an urban-bred kid who had no idea what that even means. When you see a little village of 100 people, which gets electricity for maybe 30 minutes a day, if they've probably never seen automobiles, when you kind of get into that context, it really changes you within. And for us, it was just a great privilege to be, seeing all of that. The second aspect that was really fascinating during that whole experience was how much love all the people in the villages were showing towards us. Just because we were coming from, under Swami's banner, all the love they had for Swami, they were all like, and we didn't even know that there'd be, Swami's devotees, like, we were going like hundreds of kilometers away. And some of these village elders were telling us stories of back in the day when India was a feudal system and then became, independent. A lot of people apparently lost their lands because, there was a lot of stuff that happened, like nobody knew whose land it was and things like that. So Swami actually negotiated on behalf of all these people with the government and freed up all those lands. So a lot of people have their lands and their villages because of Swami. I didn't even know. They were telling us all these stories. Who tells these stories? Nobody knows because Swami never advertised. But just the love that we saw from the people, and I don't know if we were feeding them or whatever, they were the ones giving us, oh, you look very tired, here's some buttermilk, here's this, eat something, and all the grandmas immediately, opened up stuff and started cooking, and we were like, wait a minute, what is happening? Supposedly we are going there to help, but who's helping whom? Anyway, it was fantastic, 15 days, Somewhere along the way, a thought kind of struck me, which confused me a lot, which was, what are we doing? Swami talked about, this profound problem. We started Grama Seva. We, clearly did something, but, some food and a couple of clothing, piece of clothing, it's not going to solve that original problem, right? So what was the point of this all? It was very confusing. And it took me a few years to really understand the context of this whole thing that happened. First point is, later on, Swami once said, the point of me sending you all is to remind people that I'm thinking of them. That in of itself, just imagine that. If someone came to us and said, hey, Swami sent this vibhuti for you, and he's sending his blessings to you, how we would feel, right? That was how they were all feeling, that, oh, Swami's thinking about us. It's a huge confidence booster. Okay, point one. Okay, I get that. Point two, it was actually a lesson for all of us. We see in our news articles and whatever, so much is happening. Global scale, city scale, immediate community scale. If we stood here and looked around, there are so many problems. And Swami is giving a blueprint of how we need to react when we see those kind of things. I mean, he presented it in this beautiful way. Oh, I read a news article. Like, does he need to read a news article? I mean, we know that. But the way he presented it was such a profound thing. We read news articles all the time. We are aware of what's happening around. What do we then do as a group or even as individuals? For me, I think that little blueprint, that little thought current of how you can then process it, and the fact that with that good thought, how many people can be coalesced into one united front. Those were some of the lessons. And I'm sure over time, more and more lessons will come out of that same instance. But at least these are a couple of things that I wanted to capture and then, just mention it. Not that, oh, I've figured something out, not about that, but just that's what community building, gets down to. And just to kind of go down that path, Swami told us this beautiful story once in Trai. I didn't watch this. He was telling us that this is what happened. Apparently, there was this big physics conference that happened in Bangalore at Indian Institute of Science. And one of the physicists there was a Baba devotee. So he roped along a couple of other, physicists from other places and took them all to Parthi because he was going to go to Parthi. And they came one of the days, Swami gave a discourse, I believe it was a festival or of some kind. Next day, Swami called them all for an interview. And, so Swami started asking all these, gentlemen, so do you have any questions for me? Well, they were scientists, so they had a lot of questions. And one of them was, Swami, you keep talking about divinity and so on. We are very objective rationalists. And for us, it needs to be something that's quantifiable, measurable, observable. These are all very important to us. And as a concept, divinity just doesn't fit into that umbrella at all. Swami said, oh yeah, see, look, you guys are all the PhDs and the great scientists. I didn't even finish 8th grade, so what do I know? Let's discuss. Maybe you can teach me something about, this. So they were having this real freewheeling discussion. Then Swami said, wait a minute, hey, you know something? And then he asked somebody to bring like a sheet of paper or whiteboard, something like that. And then he drew the symbol of infinity, the inverse 8. And he says, hey, you're all physicists, right? Can you explain to me the concept of infinity? And they were like, well, we use this constantly in our, equations. Essentially, it's a number that is limitless. It is a thing that has no boundaries. It is something that is not quantifiable. So I was like, wait. Wait a minute. You're telling me you use something in your equations that is unknowable, limitless, without boundary, and you are saying you can't measure divinity just because of the same exact reasons? That it's not observable? That it's like, can you observe infinity? No, you can't. Like, what is going on, right? And I think through that conversation, all these guys were like, ooh, yeah, that's it's an interesting idea. And then Swami he said, well, so now who's the teacher, who's the master, who's this pupil? Swami says, but you know what? You guys may not understand infinity, but I can tell you how to experience divinity. I've got the formula. You think you guys got the formula? I've got the formula. Then he goes on to explain. Look, right outside the ashram, there's this person who has not eaten for 3 days. He's really, really hungry. Go feed him. There's this lady who's doesn't have good clothes. It's really cold. She's freezing every night. Go find a good rug for her. Clothe her. When you do these things, something happens inside you. There's this little tiny flicker that you feel because you're doing this not for yourself, but you're doing it because somebody else needs it. That little spark, my friends, is divinity. And this is what Swami was talking about. He's telling us this. That little spark is divinity. And, we were all like, wow, that's mind-blowing. Still fully don't understand it, but that looks, sounds very experimental, right? Because I can do that experiment. I can actually do this and see if it's true. And if it's not true, fine. Let's try the next experiment. Swami didn't stop there, though. He went on and said, why do you think I've set up the Sai organizations this way? With the Bhakti wing, with the service wing, with all of this, to give multiple shots at goal, multiple opportunities to keep kindling that little spark. Because if you don't kindle that spark, it dies out very quickly. So you get more and more opportunities to fan that. And I want you to fan the flame so much that you will be torch bearers. You'll be that beacon that everybody can look at and say, hey, there's the light. That is divinity. That is what it needs to be. And that opportunity is what I'm trying to give with the way the organization is set up. How profound, right? I mean, how amazing that is. And this is experimentable. This is something that we can actually try. All right, I think maybe another 10 minutes, and then I'll pass the baton onwards, because there's some beautiful programs coming up. But I'll share 2 stories. This is part of my own growth process, and it's important. I don't usually share one of these stories, but I want to do it today because, to me, it just shows that omnipresence of Bhagawan, and that he's always watching us and he's always with us. So, story 1. Many years ago, when I was still a PhD student, I got invited through, Swami's will to be a keynote speaker at a major, conference. And it really usually never happens to a first-year graduate student. It's just, but whatever. Maybe they got the address wrong. Came to me. So I went, it was for me a professionally, fantastic moment, so it was great. And when I was leaving Parthi, Swami had actually, given this blessing. I can see part of it, which says, "I'm always with you, I am behind you, I'm above you." Swami says that. So he said the same thing, that I'll always be there, and all that stuff. So that evening, so this conference happened in Puerto Rico. The resort was right on the ocean, gorgeous. It was just beautiful, lovely sunset. And I was just walking, reminiscing, some of these moments from Trai and other things. And I remembered this particular thing that Swami had said. During this whole reminiscing moment, I was walking. I was just walking, and I walked into downtown San Juan, aimlessly, pretty much. And this thought came, "Hey, you said you'd be around, whatever. I don't see you. What's going on?" It's one of those experiments, right? In that particular moment, I honestly, and this was not a frivolous point, I was like, "Look, you said this. It's such a great moment for me, and I want to share that with you. Where are you? I want to see you right now." I look up, and there's a billboard with Swami's picture on it that says, "Love all, serve all." Just by chance, I walked to the one spot where the Sathya Sai Center of Puerto Rico is housed, with Swami's picture. Sarla and Amrit, in a different time, have also seen the same picture and have been to the same place. We talk about GPS. This is God positioning system. It brings you, you're thinking about him, you're just there. And that is, Swami. I mean, for a minute, I was just like scared. What else is he watching? But the reason I'm sharing that is, especially today, because, we might feel that we can't go to Parthi and just talk to Swami or give him that letter. He's there. It's for us to manifest him. Like, it is our duty, our bounden duty to manifest that from within us. Last story. In 2002, Swami just decided to bless the band boys, just for whatever reason, to be with him in Punachandra for 20 days. So we would go in the morning, be there all the way till the evening. There were lunches, dinners, all kinds of phenomenal moments. 20 days passed, and we realized that tomorrow would be the last day of all of this. And, and it was a very bittersweet moment, because on the one side, we had such a fantastic time and close time with Swami, but that was also coming to an end. So I had this little thought in my head that I should give a greeting card to Swami, giving my thanks. But by the time our session was done in Purnachandra and we were back, the hostel stores, there used to be a general stores kind of thing in the hostel, that was closed. And that's where they would usually have greeting cards. And in Mandir, by 8:30, everything closes down, so you can't get anything. And you're not even supposed to be outside anyways. So I was caught in this conundrum, and I was feeling a little bit bad. I actually coaxed, finally, the guy who takes care of the stores, and I begged and pleaded with him, and then he broke the rules by taking me in there at midnight when, with a torchlight, because you can't turn on the lights and you can't, there are rules. In Parthi, there's rules. It's discipline. Anyway, so we broke that that day, and we looked for it. We couldn't find anything. So I was pretty sad. I went back and reopened my cupboard. So in Parthi, we would all have individual cupboards that you would lock up. And you open it up. You open it this way, and then you have your clothes. And then there's one more plank that comes down, which is where you have all your books and you can read and write. So it becomes like a desk, if you will. Anyway, so I opened up the thing and I was like just taking out, my pajamas to change for the night. And then out bang pops and hits my head a greeting card. So, I was thinking, okay, I've told a bunch of people this and, I probably raised so much noise that somebody out of the goodness of their heart maybe put a card. So I looked it up and it was just perfect. It was just absolute classic Hallmark moment. It says exactly what I want to say. It's all written there, beautiful poem, everything. So I was very happy. And then I just, wake up a couple of my close friends saying, hey, dude, thanks so much for spotting this for me. I've got you covered. I've got your back. And they were like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, this greeting card. They're like, no, I didn't put it there. The other guy says, no, I didn't put it there. Then I started thinking, oh no, maybe somebody else by mistake put it there and I'm taking this. So as this guilt started coming in. But I was like, you know what, I'll buy him another one. It's okay, I'll go to Bangalore if needed. I'll get him one more. I need this for tomorrow. So that was my whole thought. So I wrote some additional things on it and everything. Next morning, we were in Purnachandra. There's this spiral staircase that used to lead up to Swami's room. And Swami was walking down the spiral staircase. A few of us were standing there. We were all, And Swami came, talked to individual, how are you, this, that, whatever they wanted to talk about. So I had the greeting card in my hand. Swami looked at the greeting card and he said, did you like the greeting card? Even in that moment, it still did, head was a little off. I said, what greeting card, Swami? The one in your hand. Did you like the poem? I wrote it myself. Right? And that's when it struck me. Okay? But me, being the silly me, I still gave the card to him. Swami took the card, then spoke to me about something else and walked away. When he was like 3 boys down, suddenly he was like, why did I give him the card? He gave it anyways. I could keep it. He said he wrote the poetry. I don't even remember what it said anymore. That was just there for that particular moment. But the reason I tell this story, I don't usually talk about this one, just because it's silly, it's ridiculous, it's too personal. But the reason I share it is when that deep desire is there, when we truly desire it, and if that desire is, certain desires, I at least feel I don't have to seal on it, there are others that I can work on. Maybe a couple of these, that closeness with Swami, that we want Swami to be with us. There's no reason to seal that right now. When we get there, we'll think about it, because I don't know what that means. I'm just speaking for myself. He crystallized that moment for me, in such a profound way. And he has done that for each and every one of us. No one here is special. That's the beauty of it. Every one of us has that individual connection with Swami. We can have our own conversations with him at any point in time. And that is who we are celebrating today. And I'm so thankful to all of you for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. Thank you all. Sairam.
Thank you, Brother Ajay. We are very thankful that the GPS system brought you here today so you could share all these wonderful string of stories, Swami's infinite love. We will now break for snacks in the back. We have a 20-minute break, and there's tea. And please come back. Please be prompt in 20 minutes at 4:50 so that we can continue and be on time. Thank you. Sai Ram.